Now let's talk about payload encoding and encryption. And first of all, why we want to encode or encrypt our payloads. The basic purpose of doing this is to hide your payloads from someone like AV Engine or reverse engineer so that she or he cannot easily identify your payloads using binary matching or easy string pattern seeking. So for example, if you use Meterpreter in your code, it's a very well-known and recognizable shellcode by AV companies. So you have to either change the shellcode itself, like change the instructions within the shellcode and preserving the functionality at the same time, which is really tedious but doable thing, or you just encode or encrypt your payload, which is much easier. Now, what's the difference between the encoding and encryption, and what actually encoding and encryption is? Okay, so let me read you some definitions, and we start with encryption. Quote: "The purpose of encryption is to transform data in order to keep it secret from others. For example, sending someone a secret letter that only they should be able to read, or securely sending a password over the internet. Rather than focusing on usability, the goal is to ensure the data cannot be consumed by anyone other than the intended recipient." End of quote. So what all this means? Let me translate it to a human language, okay? Encryption is transforming your data, but to do that, you need an encryption algorithm, which is called cipher, and a key to perform this transformation. Okay, your data before encryption is called plain text, and after the operation, ciphertext. To reverse encryption, so in other words, to decrypt your ciphertext back to plain text, you need to know the cipher which was used, and it's in most cases a known. It is a known information, and a key which is a kept secret. So that's encryption. Now let me read you another definition for encoding. Quote: "The purpose of encoding is to transform data so that it can be properly and safely consumed by a different type of system. For example, binary data being sent over email or viewing special characters on a web page. Encoding transforms data into another format using a scheme that is publicly available so that it can be easily reversed." End of quote. So in plain words, encoding is also a method of transforming your data, but it uses only well-known algorithm, okay, like base64. To reverse this operation, you don't need any key. The only thing you need is what kind of algorithm, encoding algorithm was used, and that's it. So encoding means transforming your data with a known algorithm. Encryption means transforming your data with a known algorithm and a secret key. That's the basic difference. So what are the examples of both? I've already mentioned base64 as an example for encoding. Okay, AES or Advanced Encryption Standard is also a known standard for encryption, and this is another obvious example. So what about XOR? XOR is a simple logic operation, which is the simplest method for encryption. And most people think that XORing data is encoding, but if you take the definitions I've read you earlier, it's clear that XOR is encryption, because to reverse the transformation you need a key, even if it's just 1 byte. Okay, and by the way, XOR is used in many cryptographic operations and algorithms. Okay. So in the following section, we will use all three methods of payload transformation.